think this is going to feel weird the first couple of times I do it, whatever I do, so yeah. Hi, I'm Rosie, and grab a snack, a drink, your project, and welcome to my first ever knitting podcast. Let's get into what I'm making. I have all of my bits in a basket here. I tried to arrange them nicely, but I am aware I'm going to be pulling things out, so there's no way it's going to remain like that, but just appreciate it for now. First up, I want to talk about what I'm wearing, which is my most recently completed object. It is the Daydreamer Cardigan by Kudavakika, Veronica Lindberg, and I love it. I knitted this in Drops Nepal held with Drops Brushed Alpaca, and it was my first time using them. I did so many swatches because originally I had ordered, in fact I have the yarn here, I did so many swatches because originally I had ordered this colour of Nepal, but then also a red in the brushed alpaca, a brighter red, but it was just a bit pink and a bit bright for my liking. I wanted something like towards the, you know, like wine Bordeaux-y colour, but not that far. So I didn't want it all this colour, but I didn't want it this colour either. So I did a swatch with the two held together and discovered that I absolutely loved it. And so here it is. I'm going to put these over here. I really enjoyed knitting this. It came together relatively quickly. It's quite a chunky weight. My favourite bit about this cardigan is the buttons. I was looking through the buttons that I have in my collection. I buy buttons whenever I see cute ones, usually in charity shops. So I have a fair number of them, but none of them were giving what I wanted. And then I went to Hobbycraft and I spent probably 45 minutes just looking at the button section until I found these buttons, and that was it. I fell in love. This I now call my Ladybird cardigan. It is very cozy, very comfortable. The blocking process for this was kind of new to me. I've not made many garments full stop. I've not made many garments in wool. This is alpaca and also half fisherman's rib, which I think just generally is something that grows a lot as a stitch. That seemed to be the vibe when I was reading through the Ravelry projects. So it did grow quite a lot when blocked, and I didn't pin it when blocking. I just sort of let it do its thing because I technically have blocking mats, but I bought them off Amazon and didn't think about the size, and they're really small, so they work for hats and smaller projects, but they don't work for bigger ones. So really I need to get some proper blocking mats, but I'm actually quite happy with how this came out in the blocking anyway. So yeah, because this is my first knitting podcast, obviously I am just sort of going to show you some of the things I've knitted this year that I want to talk about, really, because this is my channel. I can do what I like. First up, we have the first finished object of the year, I believe. It was these sock slippers. They're technically a pattern in the 52 Weeks of Socks book. I'll put the actual pattern here for you to see, or here or somewhere on screen. The pattern is actually a colourwork pattern. I completely ignored that. I just knitted them in plain because I really love the I-cord edging and wanted to do that. I actually did not make them in these colours. I made them in some yarn from Soston and Gren, which is not a place that I know how to pronounce, and it was a lovely kind of beige colour, not really typically in my colour palette, but I liked it nonetheless. However, I made the grave mistake of wearing them to a very muddy walk, and my shoes are Mary Jane, so have holes in the top, and yeah, I got mud on them. I did wash them, they did not survive that, so I put them in with some other things that I was dyeing, and now they're sort of a pink colour. The yarn is very much a mix, I think, so some of it has gone to the colour, some of it has dyed the colour and some of it hasn't. Namely, like the mohair fuzz on them hasn't gone, which I really like, the little kind of light pale halo they've got, and then a nicer pinkish colour. I dyed them with a very chaotic mix of dyes that I had in a stash, so I could not tell you how I got this colour result, but I really like it. Next, let's talk Sophie scarves. This we'll get to because we had a falling out, but I knitted my first Sophie scarf this year and I wear it every day that I leave the house. I love it so much. I think I got the balance just right in terms of length because it is really nice and warm. I can put it on my face, and it's just a really good size. I didn't decide on a size because this yarn was just a yarn in my stash. I have no idea what it is. It is probably been in my possession for over 10 years, so there's no way of me working it out, but I just knitted to halfway through the weight of the yarn and then started the decreases, and I'm very happy with how it came out. And I immediately started another one, which is cute. It's not really my colour, but it's a really nice yarn. I think it's a cider, realizing I don't know how to pronounce anything, cashmere blend. Oh look, it says cashmere, merino and acrylic. So it's really nice. I'm going to give it to someone. Now, once I finished those Sophie scarves, I decided I wanted a Sophie hood. However, I don't love the construction of the Sophie hood. I went looking for alternative hoods to the Sophie hood, found the Knitting for Olive Pernille Larsen Alex hood, and I like it, but I don't like the ribbed. What I really like about the Sophie scarf is the garter stitch with the I-cord edging. So I decided to purchase both patterns and attempt a amalgamation of the two, which sort of didn't work particularly well because obviously I chose a completely different gauge and stitch, so why would it work? So after several attempts, I got through the scarf. I have what I theoretically wanted to do down. So I got through the scarf and I really like the length, and I think it's going to be really nice to wear. I really like the yarn I used, which is Cedar Snugly, held with a, I think, Drops Kid Silk. Yes, Drops Kid Silk, in these sort of teal colours. So I was very obsessed with this colour briefly at the beginning of the year and wanted to make something in it to have. I still would really like some more of this in my wardrobe, but I'm less obsessed with it right now. I'm more obsessed with sort of red colours, which you might notice. Please don't look at my nails because they have chipped horrifically this morning in doing some dyeing, but they are also this colour. Tangent aside, so I left a gap in the I-cord edging to then pick up stitches and the I-cord to do the hood, but I had done that and I've made some decent progress, but I just had decreased here to do the hood shape at just too higher of a rate, so I have undone it and I put it in a bag because I had other projects I wanted to get on with, but I do want to come back to it. I have banned myself for Lent. I've banned myself from casting on new projects in the hopes that I'll get through some of my projects. I'll probably make a video on that, but this is one that I do want to finish soon. I was going to go in just finished objects and then talk about whips, but I guess I've already talked about that one. But back to finished objects. I have done a fair amount of gift knitting already this year. I've made, I think, 3 pairs of socks for people, which I'll put on screen because I really like them. I made my dad a pair of socks that with some leftover yarn for a hat and a scarf I made him for Christmas, and I made my friend a pair of ankle length ribbed socks, which I was really happy with, and I freehanded. I made up the pattern myself with large guidance from a very useful knitty.com article that I will link below, because if you want to know how to knit socks, this is what finally got me over that hurdle this year. But they're ribbed, and figuring out how to do the heel flap and gusset was really fun. So there were those, and then I made my mum a pair of socks, which were my first toe up socks, and actually I really enjoyed it, so much so that I then cast on another pair that we'll get to in a minute. But I have had this yarn for ages. My mum actually bought it to make herself a pair of socks many years ago, made one that was way too big and sort of didn't touch it. So I decided I really wanted to make her a pair of socks with this yarn because it's really nice. I think I tried and frogged 5 or 6 pairs, including a really lovely lace pair that I just decided was far too complex for a busy yarn like that. So this is how they turned out. I was very happy with them. I hope my mum's very happy with them, but obviously I don't have any of these with me. The other gift knit that I, again, don't have with me is a hat that I made for my sister-in-law. This is a mini version that I made with the leftover yarn. It is definitely not wearable. I don't really know what to do with it. If anyone knows a sort of child who would like a very, very teeny weeny beanie, then you're welcome, but that gives you an idea of what the hat was like. It's a really pretty yarn that I found in Hobbycraft. I can't remember what it's called, but it's got these like metallic sparkles in, and I saw it and I immediately thought of my sister-in-law, and yeah, I had to give it to her. That's it for finished objects. Let's get on to whips and projects that I'm currently working on. Obviously, I've already talked about this hood, which I do hope I'll get finished soon. But I think the rest of my works in progress are socks. So let's get into it. Apologies if you can hear my washing machine in the background. I didn't think it through. The first and the closest to being complete work in progress is this pair of socks. This again is toe-up socks. I knit socks 2 at a time. I think I made 2 pairs at the beginning of this year, 1 at a time, and then tried 2 at a time and was immediately hooked. I love it. It's so much better than 1 at a time for me, and I tend to make things up a bit as I go along sometimes, even if I'm following a pattern. So where you have to have 2 objects identical, knitting them 2 at a time is really helpful. But yeah, I am so excited to wear these socks. I have made this pair of socks for myself, but they're ankle socks, and so just not as cozy, you know. And I have made another pair of socks, but they are A, cotton held with mohair, which is a bizarre choice that I don't know why I made, and B, they are too short in the foot, and I do want to undo the toe and fix that, but I'm still not sure they're going to be that nice to wear, being a very bizarre pairing. But maybe they'll be nice, breathable but warm socks. That's the hope. Anyway, these socks were a sort of impulsive cast on. I went to a really lovely yarn shop in Essex when visiting my family, and bought, I had to be so restrained, but I bought this yarn, Rowan Felted Tweed. It's a wool, alpaca and viscose blend. So great for socks. It's DK, so these are like a nice chunky pair of socks. And I think I'm probably nearly there. I'm just deciding how long I want to make them. I weighed the rest of this yarn the other day and I was only just over half of it used. So theoretically I could make another pair just a bit shorter, but I want these ones to be perfect, so I'm trying not to think about that too much. I want about 2 inches of ribbing. I haven't decided whether I want to do 1 by 1 or 2 by 2 yet, but we'll find out. I think they're very nearly there in terms of the length on my leg. I have tried them on a couple of times, but yeah, I'm very excited to get them done. I'm really enjoying using the yarn. The only thing I'm slightly worried about, as I said, these were an impulsive cast on. I am borrowing a pair of metal needles because I did not have the ones that I needed when I wanted to cast them on, and I've not knit with metal needles before. I'm really enjoying it. I might get some of my own, but I do also really like my interchangeable Knit Pro wooden ones. But I also did not do a gauge swatch, and this is like I said, wool and alpaca, so it might grow, and these fit me now. So I committed to it. I've decided I'm fine with it either way, but we'll see what happens when I go to wash and block them. We have another pair of socks, which I actually cast on before I decided I preferred 2 at a time knitting, which is, I've not got much further with them because I need to now knit that much of another one, and I am working from just the one ball of yarn, so I need to figure that out. But these are a pair from 52 weeks of socks, which I will put the exact name of them here because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I'm really excited to see how these work up. As you can see, this is a variegated sort of brown beige yarn, and I think they'll look really cool in this pattern. So that's that. They also, looking at them, I'm trying to, they might be a bit small, so these might have to be a frog and start again project, but I do want to finish them, and so I thought I'd show them to you. That is it in terms of things I'm knitting, but I wanted to show you some things that I got recently. Firstly, I mentioned going to that yarn shop in Essex. It was in Long Melford. I'll put the name here because I can't remember off the top of my head. But I bought some other yarn there, which I'm so excited. It is, I got way too excited about it, and everyone that I've explained it to hasn't been a knitter or a fibre arts person, and so kind of hasn't got it. But I got some I don't know how to pronounce that, but Lang Yarn's Jowl Superwash sock yarn, which I really like. It was really affordable. I can't remember how much it was per skein, but it was like £4, which it's a nice yarn, and I was treating myself, so I was more than happy with that. But the thing that really excited me and sold me on this yarn, and as you can see, I got 4 so that I can make 2 pairs, one for me and one for my husband. He picked out this colour. But the exciting thing about this yarn is that it comes with a tiny little bobbin inside of, or spool, I guess. I don't know what these are called, but a tiny extra thread, which is for reinforcing and darning your socks when they get holes in, which I just thought was the neatest thing. So cute. Knowing myself, I'll almost definitely lose this for when I actually need it, but it's so cool that it comes with that. This is slightly like thinner, more like darning yarn, as opposed to the like fluffy wool fingering weight. I think this is. It is 75% wool, 25% polyamide superwash. I've not made much with superwash yarns, especially for my husband, so he can just put them in the wash like a normal pair of socks. Yeah, and then the other acquisition I wanted to show you was this book. You may have heard of it, you may have not, but if you want to knit socks, I highly recommend it. I have actually only done the one pattern, and not even properly, which is this one from this book, but it's inspired me so much to knit socks and to do it, and I am determined to make at least that pair that I am currently making, which are the Unity ones on this page, which is number 5 in the book. But I also am in love with so many other pairs of socks in this book. I'll show you quickly the ones that I am especially excited to make, because they are just gorgeous. Oh, and they have such a tiny picture in the book, so I'll put another one on screen, but they're the tributary ones, and I have bought a sock yarn that I think is about this colour, because I want them in this colour. They're just so pretty. But yeah, that was another fun acquisition. So yeah, I won't talk about plans because I have another video about the things that I would like to make for the next year, and also I am currently, as I've mentioned, banned from casting on new projects and trying to get through my many whips. I have shown you a couple today that I think I'm going to be making sooner, but I have many upstairs, not all of them knitting, some crochet, some sewing, some embroidery, some latch hook. So if you'd be interested in hearing about that as well, subscribe, stick around, and yeah, that's all for today. Talk soon.